What's up, everybody? I'm Najee Adams.
And I'm Hunter Jacobs.
And you're listening to the Hoopball Nets podcast. So, before we get into everything, as per usual, make sure to follow us on Twitter and iTunes. Subscribe to us on iTunes. Follow us on Twitter, of course. You can find us on iTunes at Hoop-Ball, or you can just look up Brooklyn Nets. We come up either way. Make sure you guys leave a review. 5 stars, of course. We're reading all reviews on the podcast. So we actually have 2 to read today. They were both posted like a good 2 weeks ago, but we didn't see them until now, so we're going to read both of them. But before we get into things, we want to make sure to acknowledge and shout out Hawaiian Isles Kona Coffee Company, which is the title sponsor of all our podcasts now. Everyone at Hoopball is extremely excited. It's really like our first big sponsor and everything like that. So the way we found out about it was like everyone else, basically, it got tweeted out. And then Dan asked us if we want some free samples of the coffee. To be honest, I'm not the biggest coffee person, but we're both college students, and we're in finals. Well, we're like a week away from our finals, so we're going to be up till 2 and 3 in the morning anyway. So we're probably going to need the coffee for our finals, so of course we're going to take it. We'll let you guys know how it is in the next episode, but obviously it's going to be good. The best place to find them is on Amazon. You can search for Hawaiian Isles Coffee, and they'll pop up easily. If you want to follow them on Twitter, it's High Kona Coffee. Once again, it's High Kona Coffee, Hawaiian Isles Kona Coffee Company. On to the reviews. So we got 2. We got 2 reviews, both 5 stars. One is from CZeagle04. My favorite new podcast that I've been listening to. These guys are great, and I'm glad they're getting a chance to show it on Hoopball. Thank you, CZeagle. Appreciate it. And the next one is by Darn It. Is that how you say it? Darn It 27. Oasis in a podcast desert. I like that these guys sound like they're from the tri-state area. Great use of stats to analyze the progress of the team. Really have a realistic sense of what the team and individual players are capable of. I don't agree with all their takes, but it's nice to hear net enthusiasts chop it up about a team that gets very little shine in their own city. Wish they were on after every game. So let's just address that. First of all, thank you so much. By Oasis in a podcast desert, I'm guessing you mean like since the Nets don't have a ton of podcasts that we're one of the good ones, since there's not many. We are from the tri-state area. We're both from New York. Great use of stats to analyze the progress of the team. Thank you. We try. You don't agree with all our takes. We don't expect you to.
We do have some pretty hot takes.
Yeah, we kind of go all out. But it's good to hear that perspective sometimes. Like, we try not to be biased. Yeah, we wish they were on after every game. If we could, we talked about it. If we could, we would.
I believe college gets a lot in the way right now. And once we graduate, if we're still doing this podcast, I believe we'll have a lot more time to get together and do it more frequently. But as of right now, 2 to 3 times a week is probably the most we'll be able to get.
Because after every game, so let's break our lives down so you guys don't think we're just lazy. So, like, I'm an RA. We both go to St. John's. I'm an RA. So I have a whole lot of extracurricular activities to do on top of the podcast, on top of homework and school stuff, on top of writing for Hoopball. And me and Hunter we both don't dorm at St. John's. So he has to drive here every time we do a podcast, which is why we record like 5 and 6 in the morning sometimes, because he usually sleeps over at my dorm the night before we have class. So we go through a lot to get these things done. But if we could do them every day, we would. And like Hunter, it's hard to find parking near his house, so it's if he can't stay late at night, or else he'll be driving around trying to find parking for 3 hours. So,
but we do it as much as we can because we do enjoy doing it, and we'll continue to keep doing it.
Exactly. So we're gonna get into the Cavs game now.
This episode is the Cavs and Thunder game, 2 of the most depressing games you will ever hear about in your life.
As we're speaking right now, they're playing the Raptors. The score, as we speak, is a nice little 53-53 at half.
So I expect a 100-72 end of the game.
It's any man's game right now for the Raptors. But back to the Cavs. On the last episode, we said that this is a must-win game for them. Because they were both on I think the Cavs were on a 4-game losing streak, the Nets were on a 6-game losing streak.
And the Cavs were by far the worst team in basketball as seen by everybody. And
it was not at least hitting it blown. No, I can't even say at least they didn't blown out.
Okay.
They should have won.
No. I will tell you, they really did get blown out. They really did. Because most of the first quarter, the Nets had control. And by control, their lead only went to 7. But the first quarter was all Nets, even though it ended with a 1-point Cavs lead. And from that point, the Nets never got the lead back.
Yeah, the Cavs just never looked back.
They got the lead for a quick, brief second in the second quarter. And since then, the Cavs just dominated, got the lead up to 13.
And the game was close throughout every quarter. The first quarter, the Cavs outscored the Nets by 1. The third quarter, the Nets outscored the Cavs by 2. The fourth quarter, the Nets outscored the Cavs by 2. But in the second quarter, the Cavs outscored the Nets by 4, and that's the highest. By 5, and that's the highest score differential of any quarter.
And so, I mean, the Nets did cut the lead at the end of the game, and tied the game. Actually.
I mean, they lost in like a heartbreaking. No, I can't even say heartbreaking. It was horrible defense.
Yeah, no, it was awful defense, and they gave up the bucket to a guy
who just got traded.
And is not one of the best basketball players you'll find on an NBA court.
Who did he hit with He hit somebody with a cross.
The 2 people.
He hit Dinwiddie with a spin.
Alec Burks was the one who scored the bucket, and Allen Crabbe started on the ball. Allen Crabbe got screened, and Dinwiddie was supposed to pick up, and Dinwiddie played some of the worst help defense I've ever seen in my life, and just let Alec Burks dunk the ball.
He hit him with a spin move at the free throw line and dunked off the spin move. That's with 3.2 seconds left. And the Nets what goes unnoticed is how bad the Nets are at inbound plays.
Yeah.
They consistently turn the ball over off inbounds plays. The same thing happened in the Thunder game. But this game...
Well, one thing I do have to say about that is you'll see Kenny Atkinson a lot put Jared Dudley in the game to inbound the ball, thinking, oh, he's a veteran. He'll be able to get the ball in, and it does nothing.
But he doesn't. He's bad.
It's tough because they don't really have someone that you can rely on like that anymore. But I'd honestly put Joe Harris to inbound the ball.
Joe Harris has been out the last 3 games.
But I'm saying, when Joe Harris is playing, I'd pick him to inbound the ball because I trust him the most to get the ball inbounds without making a mistake. I don't think that Dudley is best equipped to not make mistakes at this point in his career.
Which is sad because he should be. Okay, so moving on to the actual game. We're going to start with percentages. The Nets shot 39.4% from the field, 25. They were 10 for 40 from 3.
Okay, wait. One thing I have to point out is although the Cavs didn't shoot 50% or near 50% in this one, allowing the Cavs to outshoot you and shoot 43% is still not the greatest game in the world.
If they're holding you to 39%, you should be holding them to less than that because you're the better team. The Cavs shot 43% from the field.
The Cavs made 4 3-pointers and still won the game.
That's crazy. I'm just noticing this now. They made 4 3-pointers while the Nets made 10. But the Nets attempted 40 and the Cavs attempted 15.
And the difference in this game was free throws. That's what it comes down to.
The Nets were 9 of 16, which is 56.2%.
Awful. An awful 56.2%.
And the Cavs were 19 of 20, which is 95%.
95%. The worst team in the NBA just outplaying you in all aspects of the game. It's just a shame.
The turnover battle, the Nets won 7-9. They out-rebounded them. They out-offensive rebounded them 17-14.
But they got out-rebounded overall 55-50 because the Cavs had 2 people with double-digit rebounds, and they had an additional 3 people with 7 or more rebounds on top of the 2 people with double-digit rebounds. So the Cavs were all on the boards, while the Nets, not so much.
Going into the box score, so we're going to start with Rodney Hood. He played 33 minutes, 9 points, 2 of 8 from the field.
This was a new lineup they tried with George Hill at the 2, Rodney Hood at the 3, and Seti Osman at the 4. And clearly it worked out as they got a win. So
the Cavs really run like a 2, 3, 4, 5, a 7-man rotation. Sometimes Larry Nance plays.
That's typically what it is. I mean, when David and Nwaba was playing, he was getting big minutes. J.R. Smith was playing, but now he's going to get traded. Kyle Korver used to play, but now it's honestly down to these 7 and Larry Nance. So I'll say an 8-man rotation.
Tristan Thompson.
Actually, as we're recording this episode right now, is a couple hours after George Hill was just traded. So
yeah.
The Cavs don't have George Hill anymore, and now they have Della Vedova back, who
True.
I do not believe will actually see the court much at all. He might get some minutes here and there, but I believe that the Cavs were just clearing room for Sexton to get free reign.
Every time I see a trade alert pop up on my phone, like I wish it's the Nets.
Yeah.
Like I always like, are the Nets making a trade? Is it gonna give us something crazy to talk about in the podcast? But the Nets never make a trade. Tristan Thompson, 34 minutes, 19 points, 14 rebounds, 8 of 11. Wow, same time. 8 of 11 from the field.
2 blocks.
Yep, 2 blocks.
He just dominated. Amazing game.
And it always seems like Jared Allen gets lit up.
Okay.
But it's like, I don't know.
I will tell you about a play I saw in the Thunder game. I'll speak about it now, though, since we're on the topic of Jared Allen. Paul George drove to the basket, and Jared Allen was standing right under the basket. Arms up. Paul George drives into him and just knocks him so far out of bounds and then just dunks the ball. Jared Allen is literally like... He's so movable. He's not like a brick wall. He's not like these other centers like Whiteside, Gobert, Capella, Embiid, who you drive into them, they're going to stay there and block your shot.
Or at least if you
get a hand up.
Exactly.
Jared Allen just gets bodied out of bounds and gives up easy buckets.
Or they'll at least make you like think about it the next time you drive in.
Well, granted, Paul George isn't like the weakest guy in the world, but
he's super athletic, but
you should still not get shoved so far out of bounds you're not even in the play anymore.
The Nets gave up 15 points and 2 assists, 1 rebound to Colin Sexton. He was 7 of 16 from the field. Not his greatest game. He really only scored, didn't do much else. Jordan Clarkson, he took the most shots on the Cavs off the bench.
As always, he always does that.
20 points, 9 of 22 from the field. 11. Wait, they gave up 11 rebounds to Jordan Clarkson.
Yep.
That is insane. And then 4 assists and a steal. There's no way you can give up 11 rebounds to Jordan. He's not even like an oversized guard. He's a regularly sized shooting guard. He's like 6'6". There's no reason you should be giving up 11 rebounds to Jordan Clarkson. That's inexcusable.
Alec Burks had 13 points, 13 shots, also had 7 rebounds.
They gave up 7.
And then Larry Nance with a quiet, good 9 and 8 game with 1 of 1 from 3 in 15 minutes. So that's the Nets box. I mean, the Cavs box. Now we'll move to the Nets, who... This is very ugly. There's not a whole lot of good
I'm looking at the box score right now,
There's
and I'm like, who do we start with?
I'll start with my MVP of the game, Rodions Kurucs.
I knew you were going to say that.
It's crazy. You would not expect that he's MVP of the game, but he played 13 minutes. He had a second on the team, +6, ±, 12 points, 6 of 10 shooting, and he had 4 rebounds and a steal.
I just want to see if you're going to notice something about this box score that you would, like, if you notice something about this box score about one of your favorite players that you always criticize someone else for.
Okay. Shabazz Napier took as many shots as he had points, but you want to know what else? He only took 10 shots and had 10 points and shot 50%. He shot 50%. So if you can do that and shoot 50%, okay. But D'Lo will take 17 shots and have 17 points on 2 of 17 shooting. So it doesn't really help much. Napier still put up 10 points with a nice 4 rebounds, 2 assists in his 17 minutes. So it was a solid game.
Now,
I already did. Okay. I just said his whole stat line.
Okay.
And then we'll just finish the bench off because there's only 3 more guys. Ed Davis had a 10 rebound game. 2 points. Typical Ed Davis game.
Literally Ed Davis in a nutshell.
DeMare Carroll continues. He's the 3rd person this game, 1 of 7 shooting. So It's just a terrible sight to see. 0 of 4 from 3, 4 points, 3 rebounds.
That's crazy.
Horrible game in 22 minutes.
Two of your starters.
He had a team low minus 14, so he really did not affect the game in a positive way at all. MVP Jared Dudley, 17 minutes, 3 points, 1 of 3 shooting, 2 rebounds, and an assist. Magnificent.
And then D'Angelo Russell.
No. He's last.
Okay,
he's last.
He's last.
He is absolutely last. We'll go to the starters, the 2 starters who also shot 1 of 7. So the fact that D'Angelo Russell last for a terrible performance, and he isn't one of the people who shot 1 of 7.
That's good, right?
No, that's bad. That's terrible. Alan Crabb had 5 on 1 of 7 shooting with 8 rebounds.
He was 1 of 5 from 3, and that's your only job on this team.
And Rondé Hollis had 4 points on 1 of 7 shooting with 2 of 6 from the free throw line. Simply amazing. He's the big reason they shot so poorly at the free throw line. He added 5 rebounds. And then you have the underwhelming Jared Allen with 9 points and 3 rebounds in 32 minutes. How do you get so badly outplayed by Tristan Thompson?
He got out-rebounded by Jordan Clarkson.
He got out-rebounded by Alec Burks.
He got out-rebounded by D'Angelo Russell.
He had the least rebounds in the starting lineup.
That's crazy.
Rodions Kurucs had more rebounds in 13 minutes of action.
That can't be the case. Spencer Dinwiddie, 32 minutes, 18 points.
Well, wait. One thing that we did not mention is Jared Allen hit his first 3 in a really long time. So there's a plus. But
and he only had 1 foul because it seems like every time we look at the box score, he has 4 fouls, 5 fouls out. He only had 1 foul in 32 minutes, so that's good to see. But also what's good to see before we get to Dinwiddie and Russell is no player on the Nets had more than 1 turnover.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to pick something that's good out of the entire batch of awful that we've mentioned so far, that's a positive. Let's move to the guard dynamic duo of D'Lo and Dinwiddie. So, they both got 32 minutes, led the team. Dinwiddie had 5 fouls in his 32 minutes. He had 18 points, 6 of 14 shooting, 4 of 11 from 3. 3 rebounds, 4 assists, a steal. All right game. Not that bad. The percentage
he also had 5
was
fouls.
Okay. D'Lo, okay, so he wasn't terrible, but there's one.
He was the best player on the team by far.
That's true. But there was one part of his game that I point out that he just continues to do every single game. So he scores 30 points. 30 points. Great game. What would you expect someone who scores 30 points to shoot? Like, how many shot attempts?
Like 17, 18.
Yes. So I would expect like a nice 11 of 18 for 30 points. No, this man decides, I'll get my 30, but I'll take 31 shots. 13 of 31 shooting. 42%, which isn't great, obviously. 4 of 12 from 3, which is awful. And then he adds 8 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals, so at least he adds more to the stat line. But what are you taking 31 shots for?
I want to know where D'Lo ranks in shots per game, because it seems like he takes a lot of them. I want to know where he... Next episode, I'm going to have that.
I'll say it's not at the top, only because his minutes have been reined in, more so than players like Harrison Barnes, who chucks for the Mavs, or like Westbrook, or Paul George, who always have the ball in their hands because they're the only 2 players on the Thunder capable of doing anything. Players like that are obviously going to beat him out, but he will be the highest on the Nets, I could tell you that.
Easily. I mean, Dinwiddie and Russell combined for 8 of 23 shooting from the 3-point line. That can't happen. Russell added 8 rebounds, 6 assists. If he hadn't shot so many shots, like if he was more efficient, it would have been a good game.
So they could have won had anybody else played well, because 8 of 23 is bad, but it's manageable. When they're 8 of 23, if you look at the total for the team, the rest of the team was 2 for 17 from 3. 2 for 17 is about 13%.
Not a single person that came off their bench. Not a single person that came off their bench.
The bench was 0 for 9 from 3. That's DeMare Carroll, Shabazz Napier, and Rodions Kurucs were 0 of 9 from 3. And then Crab's 1 for 5 did not help either. So Yeah.
Moving on to the Thunder game, which I can say was a heartbreaking loss.
Oh, and I did also say that if they lost the Cavs game, that they'd lose 10 straight. They as you know now, they lost the Thunder game. So, and then they're probably going to lose to the Raptors. So that would be
Right
be
now,
9.
right now, they're down by 3 to the Raptors. It's in the third quarter. They very much so could win the game. Not going to count out our Nets just yet. On to the Thunder game. They lost 114 to 112. They got outscored 39-19 in the fourth quarter.
Okay, no. We'll get to the fourth quarter last. Let's talk about everything else, such as the fact that they had a 23-point lead in this game.
The Nets' biggest lead was 23. The Thunder's biggest lead was 4.
There were only 6 lead changes. Most of them occurred early in the game as the Nets completely dominated most of this game. They dominated. Okay, so the Thunder and Nets went back and forth in the first quarter. All right? And it ended with a Nets 2-point lead. The Nets dominated the second quarter, 36-22. Then they also won the third quarter. And
they won every quarter
lead.
Except the fourth.
And they just got so easily destroyed in the fourth quarter.
Dismantled.
By one man. One player. It could have been him and everyone else just take a seat and he would have won.
He scored more in the fourth quarter than they
and
did.
And
they scored.
It's the Thunder. So we're talking about Westbrook, right? Bad guard defense. We're talking about Westbrook, right? No. We're talking about Paul George.
Yep. He scored 25 in the fourth quarter alone. The Nets scored 19.
25 and a quarter.
And it's crazy because looking at the box score, you'd think the Nets should have won this. Like
they should have won.
The
Nets should have won. They should have won.
The Nets shot 43% from the field. The Thunder shot 43.4%. The Nets shot 41.7% from 3. The Thunder shot 34.2%. The Nets, for the first time in a while, shot better from the free throw line than an opponent.
It's not like they shot amazing. They still shot.
They just shot better.
They still shot 76.7%. But the Thunder only shot 57.7%. Okay, so the Nets lost the turnover battle by 14-13. They had less steals, less blocks, less assists, less rebounds. So in that aspect,
they got out offensive rebounded by 7.
They got out rebounded by 15. So in those aspects, you think, wow, the Nets really, really got smoked. But the shooting should have changed your mind because they really should have won. 23-point lead too. Blow a 23-point lead. It's just amazing to me. So let's move to the box.
You want to start with Paul George?
Yes.
We might as well.
Because it's amazing that D'Angelo Russell needs 31 shots to score 30 points. And Paul George just needs 27 to score 47 points.
That's true. He was 6 of 13 from the 3-point line.
47.
He also had 15 rebounds.
And 15 of 27 from the field. Added 4 assists. And 11 free throws.
Steven Adams had 15 points. We'll talk more about Paul George later. Steven Adams had 15 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals and a block in 31 minutes, 7 of 11 from the field.
Jeremy Grant did his typical 4 defensive stats, 1 steal, 3 blocks, 5 points. He's kind of like they're all reliable on defense. He gets defensive stats every game.
Russell Westbrook, 39 minutes, team high, pulled the D'Angelo Russell, 21 points, 9 of 23 shooting. He was 2 of 9 from the.
All right,
he had a
pulled the
triple-double.
D'Angelo Russell, but he also had 15 rebounds and 17 assists. So you can't expect him to do everything, right? D'Angelo Russell couldn't dream of putting up 15 rebounds and 17 assists.
Westbrook ended with 21, 15, and 17. He had 5 fouls. He only had 2 turnovers.
And he passed Jason Kidd permanently on the triple-doubles list.
He had 17 assists and 2 turnovers, which is insane. That was really...
And the Thunder have no bench at all.
Not at all. Not a single.
So I was writing the blurbs for this game, and there was nothing besides Paul George and Westbrook to say. The two of them were the entire team, and the Nets let 2 people beat them. Nobody else really had an amazing game. I guess Steven Adams 15 and 8 helped, but Jared Allen perfectly countered that. There was no counter for Paul George, unfortunately.
There never will be for until this season. There won't be. There's no one the Nets have that is going to be good enough to match Paul George or Westbrook. The Nets actually played good. Like, Joe Harris, old reliable, made his return, came back gunning, 33 minutes, 19 points, 6 of 12 from the field, 3 of 4 from 3, 7 rebounds, 5 personal fouls, but he made up for it. Rondell Jefferson, bust,
He
22.
has been awful lately. So he gets the starting job, and then he starts playing bad.
He had 9 rebounds and 6 assists, but other than that, he didn't contribute much. Jared Allen, 5 of 14, 15 points, 2 3-pointers.
Stop taking threes. So he hit one against the Cavs, and he took 2 more, and then he missed both of them. He should stop taking threes because they're not falling for him.
Allen Crabbe, 37 minutes, which is a team high.
Okay, this was his best game of the season.
No, his second best game. Remember, he went off earlier. He was 7 of 15.
He led the team in minutes.
All 7 of those shots were threes. He was 7 of 13 from 3-point line. He hit 1 free throw, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 turnovers.
Well, what I will say is Allen Crabbe led the team in minutes, but in the time that he sat, the Nets destroyed the Thunder. In the 11 minutes he didn't play, the Nets outscored the Thunder by 18. He was a minus 20 in the time that he played. So, sure, he put up 7 of 13 from 3, had a good game, had a steal, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, good stat line. But it doesn't matter because DeMare Carroll's 19 minutes and bad shooting had them at plus 15 while he was on the court. So, is Allen Crabbe, even on his best days, really bringing anything good to the table?
I don't know. He doesn't play great defense, and he's far too inconsistent for me to be able to count on him and play him 37 minutes. Like, I get it. They paid him, so they need to play him. His upside is there. Like, if he's hot, then he's hot. But a lot of the games he's not high, and he doesn't take enough shots to really, like, unless he's feeling it, he's not taking 15 shots a game. D'Angelo Russell, 29 minutes, 17 points, 6 of 13. It was an inefficient game for him. He was 3 of 7 from the field. He was 3 of 7 from the 3-point line. He had 4 assists, 1 rebound, 6 turnovers, 2 steals.
Wow.
The 6 turnovers, most on the team.
By a lot.
Yeah. As a team, they had 14. Him alone had 6.
So once you're done running through the box score, there's one very specific thing, well, 2, that kind of angers me. So finish running through the players, and then I'll point out what angers me.
All we really have left is Dinwiddie. He had 17 points, 6 of 11 from the field, 1 of 4 from 3, no rebounds at all, only 2 assists, 1 turnover, a steal. He had 2 blocks, so that's good to see from a guard. But, okay, that's it. Go on. Say what you need to say.
So, against the Cavs, if you'll notice, Shabazz Napier and Rodions Kurucs had 2 solid games. They had 22 points on 11 of 20 shooting. They've both played well off the bench in the time they've seen. What happens when Joe Harris returns tonight? 0 minutes for Rodions Kurucs and 30 seconds for Shabazz Napier. And they combined for 0 points, 1 shot attempt, and it was a miss. So I would like to know what you see that you give Allen Crabbe 37 minutes, give Jared Dudley 20 minutes, and don't let Shabazz Napier and Rodions Kurucs step on the court. What do you have to lose at this point? Because no matter what he tries, it's not working. So you might as well play Kurucs, you might as well play Shabazz Napier, and stop playing Allen Crabbe and Jared Dudley. There's no point anymore. They're going to keep losing no matter what he tries. They cannot finish games.
I mean, for this game, I get why he played him minutes because he had a great game. But I understand what you're saying. And then Allen Crabbe does not, as a player, does not warrant 37 minutes on a regular night. I do agree that Napier and Kurucs should get minutes, though. Shabazz Napier, he showed on the Trailblazers he can be a consistent, like a good cog in a team, like a a meaningful
weapon off the
bench.
bench.
A meaningful weapon off the bench for a team. I was struggling to find words there.
He's basically like the Terry Rozier for the Celtics, like the Fred VanVleet for the Raptors. He could play the same role, which is what he did for them last year. Play a nice 3-guard rotation at the end of games when another team goes small, or if they want to make another team go small, they put him in. He is versatile. He's a good player. He just is not getting the right opportunities.
Yeah, we're the head of the free Shabazz Napier bandwagon. Mainly more Hunter than me, but I'm down. Shabazz Napier should not be playing 0 minutes a game. But moving on to we're going to talk more about the ending of the game. They gave up 25 points to Georgia in the fourth quarter. It was his first ever go-ahead basket in the final 10 seconds or overtime of a game. He was 0 of 14. Paul George was 0 of 14 in the last 10 seconds or overtime of a game before tonight. I can say the play for you word by word. Russell Westbrook gets it off the inbound. They double him off a screen. He kicks it over. First of all, they leave Paul George open off the screen. He could have popped it as soon as he got it, but pump faked. Spencer Dinwiddie jumps clean over him, gets a wide open 3, smacks it. Nothing they can do. Game over, basically. They failed on the inbounds play yet again. And it's just nothing they can do. Like, it seems to be a common trend in Nets games that they blow big leads. 8 of their 18 losses have come after a double-digit lead. 5 have come by 1 possession. The Nets have, this was pointed out by John Schumann on Twitter, the Nets have as many losses in games they led by double digits, which is 8, as they have wins. That's crazy. Like, and people like to attest it, including us, to them being a young team.
And it's also crazy that they didn't lead by 10 against the Cavs, so that's 9 in my
Exactly.
opinion. They led by 7, and they should have beat the Cavs, so that's 9.
People like to say that the Nets lose these games because, or like they're a bad team because they're so young, and which we've used as an excuse before, but it's getting to the point where it's not just that anymore. Like, it's pure just lack of basketball IQ at this point. Like, in this game, for example, D'Lo takes a shot with 14 seconds left with the shot clock at 9, and then he maybe wastes like 4 seconds off the clock.
So, as you know, D'Angelo Russell is not the smartest basketball player in the world. For example, the Pelicans game, let's throw a no-look pass on the wing when we can just ice the game and throw it straight out of bounds. Let's take a contested three-pointer with 9 seconds left on the shot clock instead of holding it and taking a shot high in the air that wastes more time so the Thunder have less time.
Or, like, why would you, just pure basketball, like, why would you take that knowing that Paul George has 22 points in a quarter at that point? At that point, he already had 22 and was outscoring your team. Like, why would you take a dumb shot to give him the ball back to end the game? That makes absolutely no sense. One last thing, the excuse for the Nets that they're young has to stop, or not stop, but at least slow down. Because let me name you some teams that are younger than the Nets: the Denver Nuggets, the Portland Trail Blazers, the LA Lakers, the Indiana Pacers, the Sacramento Kings, and the Philadelphia 76ers.
The Bulls and Suns are also younger, but they're also worse. So.
Every team I just named is a playoff team. Except the Kings, and they're the 9th seed, 12 and 11. They're over 500 in the stacked Western Conference. There's no, like, that's not a reason for the Nets to be as bad as they are.
At this point, I really believe that Kenny Atkinson is really on the hot seat.
Yeah, it's...
Because his rotation is awful. Okay. I don't believe D'Angelo Russell is being coached the right way. That's my opinion. I believe if somebody helped him learn the right shots to take and he was put in the right situations, he'd be better. Right now, it's just not it. Though it's not working well right now in any aspects of the game. Sure, it was working with Karis LeVert, so you could blame him getting injured for their big downfall, but it's just not working right now.
That's going to do it for this episode, guys. We just wanted to stress that the fact that the Nets are young, it should not be the be-all, end-all excuse for them losing games. Because there's plenty of teams that are younger than them that are much better. As we speak right now, the Nets are playing the Raptors, end of the third quarter. They're actually winning 80-79. D'Lo has, 23 going into the fourth quarter. So this could be a win for the Nets, beating maybe the best team in the league.
Don't count on it, but hopefully.
I'm gonna say they win this game.
Just like you said,
just because I said that, watch them have 80 at the end of the game.
All right, so soon since the Nets have been so bad, we're gonna start doing a draft watch where we say what pick the Nets are projected right now.
Because at this point, we have to start thinking
and
about
looking on prospects we hope they get and think they could use and stuff like that.
And Zion, they trust.
We'll give it a couple more weeks full of L's to start that, but they're seemingly in the top 8 right now, pick wise. So we'll see how it goes.
So yeah, that'll do it for this episode, guys. Once again, we just want to say thank you to Hawaiian Isles Kona Coffee Company. Make sure to check them out on Amazon. You can look that up. You can find them on Twitter. Just search Hawaiian Isles Coffee. They'll pop up easily. Once again, their Twitter is Hi Kona Coffee. It's HIKONA Coffee. Thank you for sponsoring us. Make sure to go check them out, guys. Can't wait to get the coffee samples. We'll let you guys know what we think of them. Make sure to follow us on iTunes at Hoop-Ball-Net or Brooklyn Nets. Either one you can look up. We're there. Subscribe, leave a 5-star rating, and review. All reviews are getting read on the podcast. So if you want to be like C. Ziegel and Darren and get your review read, make sure to go subscribe to us and leave a review. Follow us on Twitter at HoopBallNets. You can follow us individually. I'm at Najee Adams _ on Twitter. If you don't know how to spell Najee, it's Najee. Hunter's at
Hunter _ JKR.
That'll do it for this episode, guys. Thank you for listening.